Hey, Cam.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. You staying sane up there or what?
Yeah. Trying to stay as busy as I can.
One way or another, right?
Yeah, trying to. We got word that there's potential for a season coming back in the summer, so kind of
Oh,
get
really?
some extra motivation to stay in shape.
What's their thoughts? It'd be weekend still and everything?
Yeah, but you never know. It's pretty up in the air.
Yeah. It always, everything is.
Hey, Zach.
Brad?
Yep.
What's up, dude?
Not much, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Where do you coach these guys out of? Because I know my Ed Calkins was the guy that brought me in. He's a Florida guy.
Yeah, so we have Sweet Lax, Florida, and Sweet Lax Upstate, which is like Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, kind of a big net there. So I'm the club director with Upstate.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's 7 o'clock, so we can jump right into it. So I'll introduce you guys first. Back with me against Cam Mann, based out of Florida. He's a Jacksonville Phins coach for us, one of our regional programs. Coaches at Nice High School. They're coached at the Hill Academy in Ontario. Went to Salisbury and then went on to Jacksonville. Was a 4-time captain there.
Wow.
And then also played box in the NLL with Colorado Mammoth. And then I played against him. He was playing for Burlington Chiefs, a couple years older than me, Zach. So just to give you some context.
Nice to meet you,
And
Cam.
Cam's
you
going to
too.
be heading a bunch of our box stuff in Florida. So it's he's going to be one of the faces of that program for sure. Just obviously just from his accolades right there that I just mentioned. So he's going to be a really big part of Florida box. So we're excited to see the growth there, and we're really excited to launch some stuff next fall. So
Yeah, can't wait.
that's part of why we're bringing you on, not just for your field expertise, but just some of the box translations as well that you bring to your game. So obviously we have Zach Currier with us as well. Last night we had Tom Schreiber, one of the best in the game in field and box, and I think Zach can make an argument in that sense as well, especially if you talk about two-way part of his game, being able to play offense and defense. So we're pretty lucky to have Zach on here. Team Canada, field and box, as you can see right there. NLL champ, MLL champ. He won 3 championships in 1 year, so that was pretty special, I can imagine. And
That good?
So
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, and Princeton as well, and he's a really humble dude as well. So we're lucky to have him on here. So appreciate you coming on, bud.
No problem.
So what I alluded to it a little bit, we're just going to talk a little bit about the box and field crossover, mainly field clips, but try to tie in the box side of it because you'll see from Zach's field game, it's all correlated to how he plays the indoor game, and it's all derived from the skills that he gained playing box across his entire life. So I mentioned it. He's a two-way guy, so he has the ability to play defense, offense, kind of whatever the coaches ask him to. And in Team Canada for the field, he took a primarily defensive midi transition role and excelled at that. And in the MLL, he's a pure offensive guy. So it's having the ability to do both is amazing. And box allows you to do that because you, especially at the younger kids age group, you're playing offense and defense. There's no specializing or anything like that. You're doing both. So you're going to learn the defensive side of things. You're going to be able to play some offense, and you're going to be able to transition the ball because that is an important aspect of the box cross game. So through these clips, we'll start kind of with the ground ball side, go into some defense, then on to transition and finish with offense. So it will be kind of a cool thing to see all 4 aspects of a well-rounded lacrosse player.
Cool.
So we'll start right here with a couple of ground ball clips, and if anybody's seen Zach play, he's a vacuum out there, and I'm hoping to get a couple tips myself here, but so we'll just play these two, and Zach, we'll just kind of get some insights on what you're thinking in ground ball battles in these piles, and then what you think once you get that ball. So I'll play these a couple times and just let you touch on it.
Cool. Yeah, so here I know that I got to keep my feet moving the whole time because I've got two guys coming at me, so that's the biggest one on that one. Same here. So this ends up being a scrum with Trevor popping it out, and I'm kind of stuck in between. I think that's Understein and someone else. So I gotta dodge out of the way, because if I just sit there, so I see Trevor's pushing it out on that 45, so I get a good beat on it. And if I just stay in the middle, I'm gonna get squeezed out by Understein. So I know I have to get to the outside there, or else I'm just gonna get screwed and be a step behind the guy. So I know that I got to get outside that double team to not allow them to do a man ball situation here. So I'm just following Trev's 45. I see him pop it out there. I'm going to get squeezed out, so I jump around. And then I have a clean line on that where I don't have any contact, or at least less contact than if I just stayed in the middle there. So that was that one. And then the main one from here, I actually missed the first ground ball, so I miss it there and it goes in front of me. But I know there's two people coming, and I need to keep my feet moving the whole time and keep my head up, because if I don't, I'm going to get blown up. And you just see that I keep my feet moving. They end up overcommitting, getting out of position. We have numbers, and then they left a guy open on the crease, and we finished. And I think a big thing also with moving your feet is keeping that stick up the whole time when you do get that ground ball, because I don't know if I'm going to get someone coming on my blind side either way, but regardless, I can snap that ball out as fast as I can, a lot faster than if I have it down and have to pull that up. So keeping your feet moving and keeping your stick up are two big ones for sure.
Yeah, just kind of to jump in there, Brad. I mean, obviously he's a tremendous talent, especially with that second one, being able to reach out there with one hand. But in the first one, it's just, you can see that relentless effort that he puts into it. The ball hits the ground and he's going full speed right away. And the first ground ball there is a great example of him keeping it in between his shoulder blades, even though he does have to jump and try and avoid that contact. He goes right through it, keeps his feet moving, as he said, and then his head's up looking to make a play. And then kind of to bring it to that box game a little bit, again, it's with the idea of, you're going to get hit. You're probably going to take a check, and just being okay with that, and knowing just keep your feet moving, take that check, run through it, because the ball is the most important thing there.
Yeah, you have to run to space is the biggest takeaway I had there. It's just you're bouncing out, trying to get to green grass, and then get your head up right away. I know at RIT, our coach was always so big on transition off loose balls like that. It just, the defense isn't set. They're just, it's kind of a hectic play. So if you pick it up and get your head up right away, move the ball, and you create a great chance like that. So
exactly, because if you just pick that ball up and your feet are planted, it doesn't matter that you pick the ball up, because it's going to go back onto the ground when everyone collapses in on you. So make sure you're running the green space.
Yeah, and obviously those are high traffic loose balls. You have high traffic loose balls 30 times a game in box. Every time there's a shot in the corner, everything. So that's kind of what prepared you for how easy of it you make that look. But it's a lot different when it's a huge field instead of just about to get crunched along the boards.
Yeah, exactly. Just getting my reps in, playing box. The ball doesn't go out of bounds. So every missed shot's a loose ball.
So this next piece, next couple of clips, just kind of talking about the defensive side of a midfielder. Obviously, I think the game is translating into a little bit more of a two-way type of guy. So no longer the days where you can just be a pure O guy, a pure D guy. These NCAA coaches, they want well-rounded athletes, and so you have to have the ability to play defense. And these clips, it's all about taking away the middle of the field. We preach it to our guys so much. Just take away the middle, take away top side and funnel them down, and you do a good job of it in these three. So you want to just touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I know that I'm probably not going to stop offensive players from getting to the cage as a short stick. So my best bet is to get beat to where I know help is. And it's a lot difficult to slide to someone's face if he beats you top side versus sliding to someone on a 45-degree angle if I know where help is. And then in other situations, we don't even have to slide there. Like Jason Noble didn't slide there until late, and then he saw that his head was turned. He's rolling back. We got a good double. So just me keeping the guy down the alley makes our other defensemen know what's coming, because they're not planning for someone to come over the top. And if they do, like we could recover and be okay, but it's not ideal. So here, I know that I can't get beat over the top. I have my foot above my top foot above his top foot. I stay on his hip, and the only time I throw that check is when I know that he can't go to the cage. So he doesn't have a scoring opportunity at that time in the game. So I'm okay to throw that check. If I throw that check 3 steps earlier and I miss it, he tucks it in and goes to the cage and scores. So I think the timing of that check is when he's not a scoring threat. He's behind the cage, see his stick, and I throw that check. And I can't throw it 3 steps early, because if I throw it when he's above the cage, he just tucks that in and runs right around me.
I love in this first clip here how patient Zach is. He makes contact right away with a quick jam, and then really knocks that offensive guy off his line. And then he's running to GOE. He's not running to the cage anymore. And a lot of times, and I know we'll talk about this a little later when we start seeing some offensive clips, but the defender starts getting a little anxious, overzealous, and jumps in front of the guy, setting up that rollback. And Zach just kind of sits in his back pocket there, trusts the angle that the guy's running at, and just continues to drive him back. And that's a trait that a lot of defenders can learn and should learn at an early age. It's just to trust yourself and trust what you're doing.
Yeah, so just I'll animate that a little bit, because I think you do a good job. A lot of these guys, they want to roll back. So Zach kind of stays a little bit high shoulder and continues to funnel him this way. He doesn't even allow the thought of a rollback to come into play. If Zach over pursues him a little bit and gets on that left shoulder of his, it just invites the rollback, and then it really hurts our defense, where you got to kind of get uncomfortable feeling like he's got a little bit of a step on you, but that's okay, because in this situation, you would have probably got a good slide right here and been fine if he did really try to dive underneath here. So you got to try to get a little bit comfortable staying on this guy's high shoulder so he doesn't roll back to the middle, and then we're in big trouble on defense. And you see that exact same play here with Rabel. All he wants to do is come back to the middle and get his right hand, and Zach doesn't even give it an option to do that. So if you see that, watch how he just plays his right hand the whole time. He's coming back. You probably don't want to slash like that, but it's a little bit different a game here. But he just takes away the middle and funnels him down low the entire time.
That one definitely tough for me. Rabel's a big, strong dude, and it's a lot of work to try to keep him in front of you, but it's all foot positioning. You see that there's not really any time where his foot is above my foot when he's dodging there. If you look at my left foot versus his right foot, I'm usually more upfield. The whole time he's rolling too, I'm either even with him or I try to get one step ahead of him so that I invite that roll back down the alley where my help is, just like you see there. We have a nice time double just because I'm staying on his hands, making it difficult for him. And then as soon as I hear him sliding, I'm turning and I'm recovering to the crease so that I can bump out our other defenseman.
Yeah, and just to tie that back to box, it's just magnified in the box game where you always have to be high foot and send the guy down, because if they go down to this low angle area down here in the box game, it's a 0 or 1% chance of them scoring a goal. So you are so heavy-footed to taking away the middle because you know they can't even shoot from there. So it just kind of helps prepare you to really learn how to take away the middle of the field by just constantly. That's all you're trying to do is not give up the middle because of the big goalie, big equipment.
Yeah, exactly. Zach does it right from the beginning there. He takes away his bottom foot's lined up with the offensive guy's top foot, so he doesn't have a choice what way he's going. A lot of guys, when they come out and approach you guys on defense, they're parallel to their shoulders. So him coming out at that angle gives that offensive guy no chance but to go underneath there.
So this next, the defense, the transition portion of the game, it's something that's so important, and it's how you win games. If you ask me, if the team that scores more transition goals usually is winning that game, because you just don't account for them. So one you'll just see here, as soon as that shot's taken, Zach's taken off, which is something I think that you can really a lot of midfielders can learn from. So just want to talk about your mindset anytime someone's dodging on you after they shoot, or and kind of pushing the ball.
Yep. So I think that in field it's a lot easier to do than box. I think in box you kind of got to stick around a lot more. But I see that there's a 3-on-1 chance of a ground ball in there, and I'm not really going to help by running in that direction because we already have 3 bodies there. So I'm playing the odds a little bit in that situation. It works out. But I see that my offensive player is still running the other direction, and I just plant, stop, take 1 step upfield, and that's a 20-yard gap that he's got to catch up. So it's all about quick timing. As soon as that ball releases out of his stick, the odds are that either A, the goalie makes a save, B, there's a goal, or C, it goes out of bounds. So there's not very many times where they're going to throw that ball and it's going to hit the goalie and rebound right out to your offensive player. So in field, it's a lot easier to kind of play the odds there. So that's what happens. And then in this situation, I felt that ball possession in the international game is a lot more important than trying to force something. So I get the ball to our attackman, even though we have numbers, and we just settle it down and get the guys out there that are going to score the goals for us. So I do have numbers here, but in our pregame, it was an emphasis that we didn't want any passes across the top, just because we'd rather get the ball down the side. If we don't have anything, we'll hold it. We'll get our offense out and we'll score a goal with the guys that are out there that get paid to score the goals. So
looks like that's a face-off guy too. Is that Snyder there?
That is, I think it's Latrell. It might be the other team.
Okay. Yeah, because he does. You do push it, and then he ends up dropping it right on the crease too. So.
Yeah, that was Latrell.
Okay. So I'm sure he's kicking himself still over that one.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Cam.
I was just about to say, a lot of players, especially in the high school, they want to see what happens and then react to the play. Zach does a great job just trusting his lacrosse IQ and anticipating. I think if you start doing that, anticipating what might happen, a lot of things open up to you. And obviously this worked out in his favor. And I'm sure he's had times where maybe that ball kicked back to his guy and it didn't work out in his favor, but more often than not, and again, this comes with more box reps, you start seeing the way the ball is going to bounce a little bit more. You start using that IQ and anticipating instead of trying to react after a play's been made.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's the most important takeaway. And you said it best. After a shot, there's the few options are you play your percentages. The more likely thing is either your goalie's going to get a save or it's going to go out of bounds. So if your goalie gets a save and you're 20 yards away from your guy, you're going to get numbers. If the ball goes out of bounds, you can recover. So every midfielder watching this, you should be thinking that as soon as if you get dodged on, they take that shot, go. Just take off. I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm pretty sure your coaches will be too. So next portion is just 2 transition goals, one in the box game and one in the field game. So we can play both of these, and I just wanted to kind of emphasize the role that box plays in transition and how important it is as a transition game, and taking advantage of these opportunities and making sure they're goals. So just a couple nice plays here. Just having that ability to shoot on the run, I think, is very important there. It's not your traditional shot down the run. It's just kind of straight overhand. And another one right here. So we'll just talk through those a little bit.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily have the hardest shot in the world, so I have to do a lot of trickery. So in this situation, in most cases, that player is going to try to pull that back short side. And in my scenario, I kind of shoot to where I'm going because my stick can see more of the net on that outside, even though it might not be the best shot. I'm still going to take that shot just because I feel like I'm in a good spot. And it works out in my favor, and I know that I got to take a hit to make a play, so I end up getting smoked afterwards.
Yeah, it's a good play taking a hit. And same thing here, just a 4-on-3 situation, and just kind of talk through your mindset here.
Yep, so this one, again, is keeping that stick up by my ear. You see how I just hold him there by keeping that stick up by my ear, making it look like I can pass it at any point. Then I hold him to a point where I know I can shoot. Then I turn, and all of my thought process is in putting that ball in a good spot. I don't shoot the ball 100 miles an hour. Pick a good spot, and ended up going in the net here just because I was at 10 yards from keeping my stick up and pumping and making sure that defenseman's got to respect me as a passer and as a shooter. So keeping that stick up is a huge emphasis on this one. Holds that defenseman and makes him have to play you.
Cam, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Keeping that stick by the ear, as soon as you drop it to your hip, you immediately don't become a threat anymore. So he does a great job. He throws a little pump there to kind of freeze the defender, and then he steps into space. If they're going to give it to him, right, step in and take it.
Yeah, I love that pump fake. It's such a harmless little play, but it really keeps the defense honest.
It's not really much of a trickery. It's just he's got to respect it, and he's got to wait to see if that ball's coming out of my stick or not. Because if it is, and he commits to me before, then it's going to be an easier goal with an attackman there, time and room with his feet set, as opposed to me coming down and trying to plant my feet or shoot on the run. So just the fact that I do have that there and I went through the motion, he's got to respect that just because that's how you're taught to play lacrosse, and it's tough to go against that. So that pump really helps me buy time to get to a better spot on the field to shoot the ball.
Yeah. If I'm coaching the U.S. there, I'd really like that guy to be in a better slide position in that triangle, and you got to go. But it's like you said, that pump freezes him and thinks, oh, maybe we can just hold on this 4-on-3 and not have to rotate at all. And so that's kind of what creates that. But it also opens up if, say, that defense is sliding really early, and then it can create that skip pass lane right down the middle. If right here, if this guy's sliding right up too soon and they are just in that triangle. So that's also another thing that little pump can do. So it's a really effective play to make, especially in transition. And it's simple. Your stick's up by your ear. Doesn't affect anything. You can still pass, shoot. So it's something I recommend adding to your game. So next 3 clips, we'll focus on you kind of as an offensive guy. And a lot of I watched all the highlights from that Team Canada, Team USA game, and it seems like all you guys were attacking was from the wings. And it's something we're trying to implement a little bit more. It's something that's just being done in all levels of the game, college, PLL, MLL. Everybody's attacking from the wings and in these 2-man game sets. So it's obviously, I think, derived from the box game, and it's what makes it so effective. We'll go through these first 2 of you just kind of going underneath and talk about them a little bit. Talk about how the box game kind of helps us as well.
Yep. So pick and roll, obviously, in box is a huge part of the game. And here, me and Matt Kavanaugh are kind of doing a pick and slip scenario. So he has the long pole on him, so he's not necessarily going to go set a hard pick, but he's going to go stand there and let me dodge where I need to dodge off, because if that pole slides to me, I flip that back. And if he doesn't, then I just keep attacking the goal like I did here. And my head's up to see the slide. I probably should have passed that to Eric Claude X, but I get lucky here and evade a pretty big hit. And then just try to get that shot off before I'm getting hit in the middle of the field. So I think that the stutter step also helped me there just by changing my defenseman, because he's got to readjust. And if he thinks that I'm going to roll back, his feet are going to go a different way, which opens up me to turn that corner around underneath. So Matt Kavanaugh sets a good slip, puts himself in a position to score if that pole slides, and he ends up hedging and then going back, which opens up me to kind of turn that corner underneath and attack the cage even more.
Yeah, definitely that change of speed kind of freezes the defender. And then your ability to kind of come across in front, that step to greatness. And then definitely going to give it to Brody a little bit for swinging at your stick there and not laying body. But get into the middle of the net so that you have the full net to shoot at instead of just trying to come up early because you see that slide coming across.
Yeah, that was my first MLL goal, so he might have been just giving it to me.
So same thing here, a duck underneath that you're just seeing a lot, and it's a move that you do a lot. This time it's a feed though, so you can't always just. I see a lot of attackmen; they just sell out. It's like, oh, they're ducking underneath. It's go for broke. It's all or nothing kind of thing. And in this situation, you still have your head up, and you have the ability to feed. So that's something that I think kids really need to touch on. Is you can't just go and sell out. You still have to have the ability to feed once you do duck underneath.
For sure. And in this scenario, like, you also have to know that the Hofstra scout is definitely going to be slide to 25 early if he's got a short stick. At this point, I was a senior, so I was a pretty established player. So you know that they're going to be sliding to me early. So I've got to keep my head up that whole time and find the open player. And crazy to slide off Michael Sowers in the crease, but they did, and just feed that across, and he taps that in. So and also a thing that I think is to note here is all of my movement till the point that I dodge is upfield. So if I were to just stay flat-footed and try to beat him underneath, my angle would be a lot worse than if I take those 3 or 4 steps up and then beat him underneath, because as little as that movement does, he adjusts his feet and comes upfield about 3 or 4 more feet, which allows me to get underneath and have a good angle at the goal where they have to slide. Whereas if I didn't, they can probably just leave me behind the cage because I'm not really going to go to the goal.
Just to put in the box perspective, and I know we mentioned this kind of the last box field crossover with Randy, is Zach's ability to know where the slide's coming from and to know that, like he said, reading the scout, that they're probably coming early. So in box, you always got to have your head up. It's going to be a quick slide. You don't really have time to judge what's about to happen. So him knowing that slide's coming from across and where he's going to go with the ball if they do come early.
Yeah, and I like that your point on dodging at your defender first. It has to be, your steps have to be towards him, and it allows you to open up some field. And obviously this one is kind of a little bit from that low wing X position, but let's say a lot of times we're setting up this wing dodge just right here, and the defender's right here. You can't, if you want to get to that cage, you can't just start running that way and expect to get to that cage. Your first steps have to be right at the defender. So you have to dodge straight at him, and then you can duck underneath. And that's a really important piece if you want to try to get to the middle of the field. If we just try to run in a straight line, he's easily just going to ride you out, and you won't get that angle. So it's a really important point that Zach made there. You got your first steps have to be at your defender, maybe make a little bit of contact, and then you can set up that enough space to get to the middle of the field. So and then this last clip, it kind of shows what dodging underneath can open up for you. You go underneath first, and you see a guy overplay you, and it allows the rollback. So I'll let you touch on that.
Yeah, so here first off, I get a little bit of a step underneath or over top, but I liked my chances of coming underneath and getting a little closer to the goal, because if I'm going over the top, I'm probably shooting on the runner. I have to plant my feet. But I don't beat him clean enough to the point where I would have time to plant my feet. So all I use is that little half step that I beat him over the top. Then I turn it on underneath. He overcommits that way as well, just trying to catch up, and I use my body weight to push him off. And then I get my hands free, and I switch levels there, and I find the top corner. So this is a box thing that It makes you comfortable with contact. You see, I actually initiate this contact on the underneath dodge so that I can use his momentum to kind of push myself the other way. So he doesn't initiate that contact. I initiate that contact because I know when I bump into him, I'm going to roll and have some space on the other side. So from a box mentality, getting used to contact is huge, and figuring out if I bump into him this way, where's my body going to roll? Because you can use it to your advantage, just like that play I did there.
And just again, it's change of speed and understanding you don't have to run 100 miles per hour everywhere you go. And sometimes a little jog here and there and changing that speed in that direction goes a long way to setting somebody up to where you really want to be on the field.
Exactly. Because if I shoot right when I beat him there, I'm at 15, 16 yards, and it's going to get saved, no problem. And then I make him readjust his footwork like 2 or 3 times, and then at that point, it's just tough to play defense. So definitely got him spinning there a little bit.
Yeah, it just goes back to having the ability to dodge underneath just sells that so much. He has to respect that underneath part. Again, we would, as coaches, we'd like them to just send the guy underneath, and then you should have a slide ready. But sometimes the defense isn't going to play it perfect, and it allows that rollback. So that's something that you offensive guys have to read as what the defender's doing. And Zach does a nice job of it there. So that just to sum it up, you just kind of saw a complete type of player, ground balls, playing defense, transitioning the ball in between offense or defense and offense, and then having the ability to play just straight offense. And so it's obviously really rare. I think it's not easy to do, but it's something Zach does really well, and it's something players should strive to be able to do. There's no reason why you can't strive to try to excel at all aspects of the game. And the final piece is box kind of allows you to work on all aspects of that game. So you midfielders that are listening, even attack, being able to play offense and defense and being able to ride efficiently, it really makes your game well-rounded. So any final closing points, boys?
Yeah, so I want to just kind of reiterate your point about box allowing you to get better at all aspects of the game, because you're playing offense and you're playing defense, and you're not necessarily coming off the field in between. So I'm very fortunate to have grown up with a box background where I wasn't automatically a close defenseman or an attackman or a face-off guy. I was able to do it all, because in box you have to do it all. So I'm excited for everyone in this chat to kind of be able to experience the benefits that I experienced moving over into the field game. And then second aspect of that is there's nothing that's going to hurt your game if you're an attackman, if you try to get better at defense and you try to put X's and O's together on defense, because what that's going to do is when you turn back to offense and you beat a guy, you know where the slide's going to come from, you know where they're going to try to recover to, and you know where the 2-on-1 is. So it's only going to help your game on offense, even if you're not going to be a defensive player or defensive midfielder. If you just pay attention to that stuff as an offensive guy, it's only going to help your game. So box is an awesome tool for everyone to use, and it's definitely, in my opinion, a lot easier to go from box to field. So I hope you guys can try to be able to make it happen going the other way from field to box, and I think you guys will all have a great time doing it. But yeah, thanks for having me on. That's all I really got. Just small points, I guess, are run through ground balls, keep that stick up by your ear, and just be a competitor.
I love it.
Yeah, just to add on to what Zach's saying, the worst thing as a coach, or especially at the youth level, but even the high school level, is talking to somebody and hearing a kid say, well, I'm an attackman. I don't need to play in the midfield. I score goals, or I'm an offensive midi, right? Especially now in the way college lacrosse is going, these coaches are looking for people that can go both ways. And they're looking for that skill set where you can play in between the lines. And you see a ton of people that play attack in high school their entire careers, and then they get moved to the midfield as soon as they step into college lacrosse. So being open to that and learning those other skills and being able to grind and have that effort in between the lines is huge. And again, this is coming from one of the best to ever do it. And he's telling us exactly how it's done and why it should be done. So hopefully that opens a couple ears for you guys.
Definitely. Cam, Zach, appreciate you guys coming on here again, and hope you're both staying safe, and hopefully see you guys both soon.
Yeah,
Good seeing
you too,
you guys.
Brad. Thanks for having me on.